If you are receiving Social Security or Medicare right now, August is not a quiet month. Three separate things are landing in the next few weeks, and almost nobody is connecting them for you. Your bank will not call you about this. The evening news covered one of them for about 90 seconds. SSA is not going to mail you a warning letter. The first one already took effect on July 31st, and it is going to show up at your pharmacy counter, not in your mailbox. The second one could interrupt your monthly payment entirely if you are in a very specific group of about 280,000 Americans. And the third one is a clock that started ticking in July and stops at the end of September. And what happens during those 3 months decides your raise for all of next year. I am going to break down all three in plain language, tell you exactly who is affected, and tell you what to actually do about each one. And at the end, I am going to correct 2 pieces of misinformation about August that are spreading fast right now, because I would rather you hear the truth from me than panic over something that is not happening. Subscribe to this channel and turn on the bell. This is exactly the kind of thing I track, so you do not have to. Let's get into it. Number 1. The drug tariff that started on July 31st. This is the one with the most direct impact on your wallet, and it is the one getting the least coverage aimed at seniors. Back on April 2nd, an executive order set a 100% tariff on patented and brand name imported drugs, along with the active ingredients used to make them. For the large manufacturers, that tariff took effect on July 31st. For the smaller manufacturers, it kicks in on September 29th. Let me translate that. A tariff is a tax paid on imported goods. When you double the cost of bringing a brand name medication into the country, that cost does not evaporate. It moves through the supply chain and it lands somewhere. Historically, it lands on the patient. Now here is the part I want you to hear clearly, because I am not here to scare you. Generic drugs are exempt. Biosimilars are exempt. If your medications are generics, and for most seniors the majority of their prescriptions are, you are largely outside the blast radius of this specific tariff. But if you take a brand name drug with no generic equivalent, and millions of seniors do, this is aimed directly at you. And it is landing on top of something that already happened. Healthcare research firm 3Axis Advisors found that at least 350 branded medications raised their list prices entering 2026. That is up from around 250 the year before. Separate analysis from 46 Brooklyn found 872 drugs raised prices in just the first 2 weeks of January, at a median increase of 4%. Pfizer alone raised prices on 72 products. So the sequence is, brand name prices went up in January, and now a 100% import tariff sits on top of that starting this month. What do you actually do? 3 things. Pull out your medication list and identify which of your drugs are brand name with no generic version available. Call your pharmacist and ask directly whether a therapeutic alternative exists, because pharmacists know this better than anyone and they are free to talk to. And check whether the manufacturer runs a patient assistance program, because most of the large ones do and most seniors never apply. One piece of genuine good news here. For 2027, the Part D out-of-pocket cap rises to $2,400. That number is finalized, not projected. So no matter how ugly brand name pricing gets, there is a hard ceiling on what you personally pay in a calendar year for covered Part D drugs. That cap is real protection, and it did not exist a few years ago. Number 2, paper checks are ending, and this is the one that can actually interrupt your payment. If you receive your Social Security by direct deposit or on a Direct Express card, skip ahead. This does not apply to you. But if you still receive a paper check in the mail, listen closely. Under Executive Order 14247, the Treasury Department stopped issuing paper checks for most federal payments back on September 30th of 2025. Then, on June 2nd of this year, SSA posted publicly that it will complete the full transition to electronic payments for all beneficiaries this year. That word all is doing a lot of work. There is no permanent carve-out coming. We are talking about under 1% of beneficiaries, roughly 280,000 people. If that is you, or if that is your parent, your neighbor, or someone at your church who does not use a computer, this is the single most urgent item in this entire video. Because unlike a price increase, this one does not make things more expensive. It can stop the money from arriving at all. You have three options: set up direct deposit into a bank account, get a Direct Express card, which is a prepaid debit card designed specifically for federal benefits and does not require a bank account, or if you genuinely cannot do either, Treasury does have a narrow waiver process. The number for that is 1-877-874-6347. Do not wait on this one. Do it in August. Number 3. The COLA clock started in July and it stops September 30th. Every year, the Social Security Administration announces next year's cost of living adjustment in October. This year, the announcement date is October 14th. But here is what most people never learn. The number is not decided in October. It is decided right now. The COLA is calculated using CPI-W, which is the Consumer Price Index for urban wage earners, measured across exactly 3 months: July, August, and September. That is it. Those 3 months are averaged and compared to the same 3 months a year earlier, and that comparison is your raise. So we are living inside the measuring window at this very moment, and the numbers moved sharply. Back in May, CPI-W was running at 4.2%. Then, June inflation came in at 3.5% year over year, well below expectations, mostly because energy prices dropped. That pushed the estimates down. The Senior Citizens League, in a press release on July 14th, is now predicting a 2027 COLA of 3.8%. Independent analyst Mary Johnson, who has tracked these calculations for decades, cut her estimate to 3.7%, down from 4.7% just 1 month earlier. She described it as a significant drop in inflation and one rarely seen in June data over the past 5 years. At 3.8%, the average benefit rises roughly $73.62 per month, from about $1,937 to about $2,011. Now, is this good news or bad news? It is genuinely both, and I want to be straight with you about the trade-off. 3.8% is a bigger raise than the 2.8% you got for 2026. In dollar terms, that is better. But a smaller COLA estimate exists because inflation cooled, and the reason inflation cooled was falling energy prices. Energy is not what is squeezing you. Groceries, medical care, and insurance are, and those are still climbing. The COLA is measured against a basket built around urban wage earners, which is to say, working-age people. That basket underweights exactly the things seniors spend the most on. So a headline that says inflation is down can be technically accurate while your actual grocery bill keeps climbing. That gap is the structural problem, and no single year's COLA fixes it. Nothing to do here except plan. The number is not final until October 14th, and 2 more months of data still have to come in. Now, the 2 things people are getting wrong about August. First, you may have seen headlines saying student loan garnishment of Social Security restarts this summer. As of right now, that is not accurate. The Department of Education paused both administrative wage garnishment and the Treasury Offset Program back in January, and it has not announced a restart date. Social Security benefits have not actually been offset at any point since collections resumed in May of 2025. That said, roughly 452,000 recipients aged 62 and up are in default on student loans, and this will restart eventually. Garnishment is capped at 15% with a $750 per month protected floor. An analysis suggests around 82% of affected borrowers would qualify for hardship relief. If you are in default, get into a repayment or rehabilitation program now, before the pause lifts, but do not panic about August. Second, if you receive SSI, got 2 payments in July, that was not a bonus. August 1st falls on a Saturday, so your August payment arrived early, on July 31st, which means there is no SSI payment on August 1st. Budget accordingly because that money has to stretch through the whole month. Subscribe. Share this with someone who still gets a paper check, and I will see you in the next one.